You are now listening to the Vitalize podcast. Hey yo, what up, family? Ooh, welcome back to the Vitalize podcast. You're here with your friendly neighborhood host, Mr. Marcus Black, and I'm glad to be in a building with you today. What an incredible episode that was last week, man. It was so cool. You know, talking about the experience in Las Vegas, talking about losing the phone, the fortitude, and at the end of the day, how bad do you want it? And I know a lot of y'all have reached out and have taken some steps, then hollered at your boy. Shout out to you for what you've done and how you've reached out. And I'm just grateful for the steps that you have been willing to take. Because at the end of the day, the dream in which you dream is motion activated, and it don't work unless you do. So shout out to everybody putting in that work right about now. I wanted to first just thank every single one of you for listening. This episode is significant for me. It's a milestone. And you might be thinking like, how is this a milestone? This is episode 13. Well, in the first couple of seasons of the podcast, we went really strong. We were doing about one every other week. So there's over 20 episodes in those seasons. In seasons 3 and 4 is when my brands first started to take off. My life got bombarded and overwhelmed with opportunities to speak, with opportunities to travel, and getting in the studio to record the podcast was rather hard. So if you look, in one of those seasons, we had 7 episodes, and I think that was season 3. And in season 4, we had 5 episodes. If I'm not a mathematician, I'm no Albert Einstein. But the last time I checked, 7 and 5 equals 12. So this episode is significant to me because now in this one season alone, in the rededication to this incredible community who reached out and still reaching out, shout out to you, my friend. You know who you are. Thank you for reaching out again. Yes, it was you. You were one of the primary factors in me keeping this going and rededicating to the community. But thank y'all for not giving up. Thank y'all for still riding. Thank y'all for still listening. And thank y'all for still sharing. Listen, if this podcast has been impactful to you, I ask that you go rate it. Give it a rating. Take a couple minutes. It will mean the world to me. Like, as a creator, like, this is content that I just give freely of my heart and my soul. Don't cost anything. But if you feel so inclined, just go give it a rating on Apple or Spotify, or save it, actually download it, or share it with a friend. The biggest thing you could do is share an episode with a friend, and that will mean the world to me. So thank y'all in advance, but we are rededicated, we're locked in, and this is already more episodes in this one season than the last 2 combined, and we just getting started. So that said, I don't even want to tarry today. I want to get right into what I want to talk to you guys about today. And I talk a lot about going and getting it. I talk a lot about what you want most, why you want it. But there's something that I feel like a conversation that really needs to be had today. And the question I have for you today, and I always ask people this, and people close to me, y'all know, you can tell people. The question on the table today is, who are you? Who are you? Okay, what do you mean, who are you? Like, I'm this, I'm that, I'm Marcus Black, I'm a motivational speaker, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a husband, I'm a father. Like, no. Don't tell me what you do. Tell me who you are. And that on surface sounds like an easy question. But that's actually, if you really think about it, it's a lot more difficult than you think it is to answer that question, unless you have spent time intentionally doing it. So this entire episode, I really want to take you on a journey where you can start to establish and determine who you are at your core. And I've really frustrated people with this before by grilling them. And listen, there's no right or wrong answer. Only you know what the right answer is. But the sad reality is the majority of who we are and how we show up in the world literally is because of what others want us to be and how they want us to show up. So often, instead of showing up as you, the way you want to show up, and fully living out freedom, freely being who you are, you conform and you cater and conform and you cut and you shift and you just literally become a version of yourself that's palatable, that's acceptable, and that allows you to not really have any pushback. But in your mind and your heart, you're in prison and it feels horrible. And I hate that for you. Matter of fact, I wrote a spoken word years ago and it goes a little something like this, because it really adequately spelled out what I know is happening inside the hearts and souls of so many. I want to talk to you today about you. And when I think about you, there aren't even enough words in the human vernacular to adequately express the magnificence of you. See, the day that you were born, you entered this world, you could search the highest mountain or scour the lowest valley through and through, yet and still, you'll never find another you. Your greatness is unparalleled, and even God marvels at the beauty that is you. But if these words I speak are true, why is it that you struggle so much to see the beauty that I do? See, I believe I know why this is the case. One day as a small child, you chose to express your uniqueness in a place that you felt was safe, only to learn a difficult lesson on that day. And that is when you express your fullness, your vibrancy, and all that which you are, someone, somewhere will always have something to say. And when people bully, envy, mock, belittle, then what do? I'll tell you, my friend, you become a little less you. And this is a process that you repeat again and again. It's like that laugh that's unique that you've been ridiculed about, or the way your nose curves so slightly, or the way your ears are a little large and poke out, or the blemish or the mole like I have here, or the gap, or whatever it is in your teeth or your lips or whatever. And you just pick yourself apart because somebody else did it first. And they hit you in your core and they ruined a part of you. And so what you did was become as docile as possible, to draw as little attention to yourself as possible, to not show up in your fullness, and to live out a version of yourself that did not bring on that unwanted negative attention from the schoolyard bullies, from the office bullies, from the classroom bullies, from the playground, like just the bullies that exist in your life that have belittled, have tormented you. Sometimes the biggest bullies you've ever faced in your life were not even the people who were outside of your ecosystem. Yeah, what I'm saying is sometimes the biggest bullies in your life was your own family, was your own parents, your grandparents, your uncle, your aunt, your cousins, your siblings. Were the people who were entrusted with your heart to care for it, to nurture it, and to help you become all you were meant to become. And they were the very ones who hurt you the most. Then what do? You become a little less you. And what I wanted to talk to you about today, if I were to title it, was identity crisis. I feel like so much of the world is in an identity crisis. What is an identity crisis? It's where you have been given so much information and data to input on who you should be, how you should move, how you should interact with the world, what's acceptable, what's appropriate, that by the time you get through shape-shifting and contorting and shape-shifting, you have now found yourself a version of yourself that you don't even recognize. You look at that person and it makes you sad because you know everything inside of you is telling you that's not who you are. And my mom would always tell stories of me as a small kid, being a kid that always wanted the microphone. I could speak my first sentence before I was 1 year old. I was already talking. I was born to do this. I was born to talk. But then I had these situations and experiences where I started getting in trouble for talking because I was an annoying adult. So they started making comments denigrating a 5-year-old and a 6-year-old because I'm talking too much. And then they started to break a piece of me. And then I started to be called things like dumb and not smart. And then sometimes some of the people closest to me started to tear me down and started to tell me I would be nothing but a failure in this world. I would be nothing but a bum. I would never accomplish anything great. And so that same vibrant little kid who was so eager to run to a microphone and light it up with vibrance stopped. And so I became the most reserved human. I became a lot less me. And I remember my mom thinking, like, this is not you. Like, son, you're supposed to go do great things. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm a bum. Start living into those stereotypes. Have you ever had so much pressure put on you, so much negativity that you just say, what's the point of even trying? And then you just live into the stereotype, the very thing they told you were, that you're not. Even if you're right there in that place right now, I want to remind you, you're not a failure. You're not a mistake. And you're not defined by the choices or decisions that you made. Nothing you did before this moment matters, and you can turn it around. You know how I know? Look at me. I was the quietest, most reserved human being for years because all I had was those voices in my head. I keep hearing voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Lauren Daigle. If I had a voice, I would actually sing that for y'all, but I can't do it right now. But it's okay. You get the picture. The song is called You Say. If you want to check it out, You Say by Lauren Daigle. Incredible song. But I keep hearing these voices in my mind that tell me I'm not enough. All those who said I'll never measure up, like I could just hear it so vividly. And so I never tried. I never spoke. I never got on the microphone. People would volunteer me to go and speak and talk about how gifted I was. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I can't do it. Why? Because I was in an identity crisis. I didn't know who I was, and I didn't know what I was meant to do. And as long as I continued to live out that false narrative of who I was, there was no way possible I could be who I am. I could be right here before you, and I could be doing the things that I was meant to do. Whose voices are in your mind? Is it the truth about who you are? Or have you shape-shifted so much that no one would even recognize who you are? You don't even recognize who you are when you visit and you watch yourself back, or you replay in your mind who you are in social circumstances. Let's go down this trail. When you find yourself in this place, have you ever had moments in time where you just doubted everything about you, where you doubted your gifts, where you doubted your strengths, where you doubted your abilities, where you said, gosh, I hear him. It sounds good, but I don't have what he has. I don't have this big, booming, boisterous voice. I don't have studio and equipment. Also, neither do I, by the way. This incredible human being is so gracious, and we work together to build this. But you just talking about what you don't have and how you'll never measure up. Do you, at least on a regular basis, call yourself dumb? You're such a dummy. You're such an idiot. You're so stupid. Your negative self-talk is through the roof. Am I talking to somebody today? Am I resonating with somebody's heart today that's looking at yourself in the mirror every day and picking yourself apart, hating what you see, hating how you interact with the world, wishing it could be different, watching other people live the life of your dreams, yet holding yourself captive in this prison because of the identity crisis in which you face? If that's you, you came to the right place today, my friend, because I'm not going to leave you there. I need you to understand a couple of fundamental truths. I told you in the beginning of that spoken word that from the day that you were born, greatness existed inside of you. That literally even God marvels at you because you are literally the grandest of creation. That you are fearfully and wonderfully made. That you are chosen. You are the head and not the tail. That you are great. I'm telling you. I ain't saying this just because. Take it to your heart the same way you take them trolls messages who don't love you, who don't care about you, and who don't know the first thing about you, but you tuck their negative message in your heart. Man, get rid of that. I'm tired of hearing great people talk about how lowly they are and how little they are and belittling themselves. Not on my watch. I'm telling you, you got to stop. You got to live into who I know you are, which is great. And I'll tell you how the switch flipped for me, because I told you I was that person. I know, that's how I know it so well. For years, I shape-shifted to be accepted. I feared judgment, so I didn't do anything that would make anybody judge me. Guess what? Can I tell you a secret today? The very people that you're worried about, that you're fearing judgment from, they gonna judge you anyway. They already judging you just behind your back because they ain't real enough to say it to your face. So if they gonna judge you anyway, forget them. You better give them something to talk about and show up in your greatness, and then you just show it to the world because you can. And so I want you to know, the thing that changed the game for me was a quote that I read by James Baldwin. And this is how my identity crisis ended. It triggered something in me that made me really go back to the drawing board to figure out who I am. He said, it took me many years of vomiting up all of the filth I have been taught about myself and even have believed before I was able to walk about this earth as though I had a right to be here. And when I realized that, I'm like, oh, son, you belong here. But in order for you to really live out the grandeur, the life that you so love to live, in order for you to build that, it's time for you to regurgitate. I know nobody likes to vomit. Nobody likes regurgitation. Nobody likes any of that. But sometimes it's necessary, and I hate to be graphic with the visuals, but it's necessary for you to vomit up that which you have swallowed and ingested that caused you to believe so little about yourself for so long. Get rid of it. That means you got to come face to face and confront the lies that people have told you. You're not enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not strong enough. You're too big. You're too small. Get rid of that. And you tell yourself, no, they lied. I am beautiful. They lied. I'm not too big. I'm not too small. I'm not a failure. I'm not a mistake. They lied. They don't know. I don't care if they gave birth to you. They don't know. I don't care if you gave your life to them, a former, an ex-spouse. They don't know. Nobody can judge or take your purpose from you because they ain't give it to you. And in this place, you can go back to the drawing board and learn to affirm yourself. Affirmations daily. Tell yourself you are great. Tell yourself you're beautiful. Tell yourself you're capable. And tell yourself you can. And if you're willing to do that work, that internal work, that soul-stirring work, you will find that you're more beautiful than you ever could have imagined. You will find that you're more talented and you're capable of accomplishing more than you could have even dreamed. And you'll find that you are the world changer I believe you are. And the reason why I'm having this conversation with you today, you will find that the dreams you have in this life are accessible to you and attainable to you. You will find that everything you want is not only possible, but probable when you start taking the steps. You will find the life that you love to live, and you will find it because you can. Vitalize.